Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you tonight for this premiere video, and I hope you guys will enjoy this premiere video tonight for the next Judas Priest record. I'm premiering it on June 5th around midnight or so, somewhere around that time, but this is for Firepower, their 18th studio album that I got a chance to listen to for myself to see what I was going to think of this 58-minute record. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for the 14 tracks and let you know my thoughts on Firepower overall. So let's dive into this album review now. Starts with the title track Firepower, which is a kick-ass track. Rob Halford sounds really good vocally in this track, even with his high-pitched singing. Does very well for the most part. So I'm really digging this song for sure. And it's a excellent 5 out of 5. The guitar work and drum work is pretty excellent in this track too. And the guitar solo is pretty awesome too. Lightning Strike is another great song that I enjoyed off this record. Sorry, I had to crack my neck for a second. It was getting stiff. Pretty much it's a 5 out of 5 for sure. Rob Halford's singing in it is pretty amazing, and just overall, this track is heavy as fuck and pretty strong for the guitar work and drum work. So I'm really digging this, and the guitar solo in this one's pretty good too. 5 out of 5. Evil Never Dies is another strong track. I really enjoyed this one too. It's another 5 out of 5 too. I like Rob Halford's singing in it. I like overall how this song sounds with the drum work and guitar work, and it does well execution wise. So yeah, it's another personal favorite track I can get on board with. 5 out of 5. Never the Heroes does have a little bit of a slow paced melody, but it does pick up as you progress through the track, and it sounds really strong with Rob Halford singing in it. So it's a 5 out of 5 too. It's an enjoyable track for how it sounds. Necromancer is a pretty strong track too. It's another 5 out of 5 that I can get on board with. Like Rob Halford singing in it, and just overall with how the song's executing for the most part, with the drum work and guitar work, it's pretty good. So so far so good with this record, and it's a 5 out of 5. Um, I'm really enjoying this record so far, but still gotta continue with the rest of the tracks that I listened through. So, Children of the Sun is another strong track. I mean, some of the way Rob Halford was singing it from time to time, I wasn't sure if I was gonna get on board with it, but I do dig it. It took a little bit of getting used to with this track, with his singing in the song, but it's still a strong track, 5 out of 5. Guardian's instrumental had a good guitar riff solo, and just the way the guitar's sounding in this track, and then the drum work comes in close to the end of the track and it starts progressing with its heavy metal sound, and it does pretty well for what they're doing for this instrumental track. So 5 out of 5. Rising from Ruins is a little slow paced of a rock song, but it does very well for how Judas Priest makes it work. And Rob Halford does pretty well with his singing, and just overall, this track definitely rocked for sure. So a 5 out of 5. Flamethrower, I wasn't sure if I was going to be on board with this because of how the chorus and the pre-chorus sounded, but it is a pretty kick-ass track. It does rock for sure, so it's a 5 out of 5 as well. Spectre, now with this song, it's, as you can tell with the title, it sounds like a rejected James Bond song, but it's something completely different with this track. So with this track, it's about Spectre of the Mind, and also this could have been a track for the James Bond soundtrack for the movie. It could have been the theme song to the Spectre movie, but it wasn't, unfortunately. Did have some lyrics that were relatable to the movie, or kind of sounded like it was part of the movie, but it wasn't. Fortunately, they went with Sam Smith's song, and I'm like, oh my fucking god. You mean Sam Bitch? Honestly. But for real, Spectre is a strong track from what I listened to, and it's a pretty kick-ass song. 5 out of 5. Definitely should have been a song for the James Bond Spectre movie, but unfortunately it wasn't. Trader's Gate is a strong track for what I thought of this one. Granted, it was a little bit lengthy of a song, but it still kicked ass for sure. With how Rob Halford was singing it, and overall execution-wise, this track did good with the guitar work and drum work, so a perfect 5 out of 5. No Surrender was pretty catchy for sure. For 2 minutes and 55 seconds, I was enjoying this track for how it sounded. So, definitely a kick-ass song. And I like the drum work and guitar work in this, and also Rob Halford sounded good vocally in this song. 5 out of 5. Lone Wolf is probably a pretty good song. I think it's the second to last track before you get to the closing track, but it is pretty strong for how it sounds overall, so it's a 5 out of 5. It does have its points, certain moments in the track, where it does tend to get a little slow, but it's overall strong for a track, and execution-wise it did pretty well. 5 out of 5. Sea of Red is a good song. It wasn't one of my favorites to close out the record, but it's a solid highlight for the record. Even though it's a least favorite, it's still a solid song for how it sounded. Rob Halford's singing in this was solid. It made it sound alright, but it was the execution that didn't really land with the melody. So 4.5 out of 5. Overall production, mixing, and execution wise, I think Judas Priest Firepower is almost as good as Painkiller. It's probably almost as good as that record. I'd probably put this over Screaming for Vengeance and British Steel, because I really enjoyed this record a lot more than those two. This was a kick-ass record. I really enjoyed how this record sounded. I think this was a big step up from the Redeemer of Souls album, which honestly wasn't a record I would be coming back to too much, but it had some solid moments depending on how the song's executed. But overall, Firepower is a very memorable record that I can really enjoy. 13 out of 14 songs I really enjoyed off this record. The only one, Sea of Red, was the only one I had my critiques about, but everything else about this record was heavy as fuck. And I really enjoy heavy shit. So, if I were to give Judas Priest Firepower a score, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. A really rockin' record. Almost got a perfect score if I enjoyed Sea of Red a little more, but it was just one of those mellow tracks you can appreciate and call it a good song. I'm sorry about my yawning. I'm just getting the yawns for some odd reason. But other than that, Judas Priest Firepower is a 9.5 out of 10. I will have an album re-review for Judas Priest's Invincible Shield coming out Saturday. So definitely tune into that on June 7th. And then I'll probably do the KK Priest ones after, and then our ranking from worst to best the following day or so. Maybe by Wednesday or Monday or Wednesday. I'll let you know when I get around to it. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this Judas Priest Firepower album review. And thank you guys for watching this album review tonight.